हेलो बच्चों, कैसी चल रही है आप सबकी पढ़ाई? प्रीलिम्स पास आ रहा है, थोड़ा सा डर बढ़ रहा होगा ना, बट नो वरीज. वट एवर यू डूइंग, डू योर प्रिपरेशन विथ ऑल योर हार्ट. As and when exam is approaching, if you're more focused, your preparation will altogether make your confidence go up if you're doing the things consistently and diligently. But never forget to read newspaper. कि prelims आ रहा है, let me read, let me not read newspaper, let me skip it. I have to focus on mocks, I have to focus on NCRTs. No, I am not going to advise such thing. I'm going to ask you to stop such thing, such kind of thinking pattern. Do read newspaper irrespective of anything. Well, some of the students did ask, ma'am, even despite all the sessions, all the these daily newspaper analysis which is brought by Tathastu, in our classes there were some students who did ask how to read newspaper. If there are some of the students among you who still do not know how to read newspaper, let me first remind you that I had talked on what should be the right approach of reading newspaper. But still, if you have not watched that session, let me give you a brief reminder about what should be the approach of reading newspaper, so you can assimilate the next or today's DNA and the following DNAs with your preparation, and you can take your newspaper reading in altogether more easier and more integrated manner and put it into your study regime every day. All right, so what you should do daily if you're thinking about reading newspaper, if you know already how to read newspaper, you can skip the video and directly start with newspaper discussion. But those of you who still are not very clear how to read newspaper, how do you take the information from newspaper, how do you assimilate reading newspaper in your daily studies, let me again give you some reminders which you have to do irrespective of anything. You see, the first thing is pick your newspaper. जैसे ही पेपर मिले, pick that. Now, based on your understanding, pick the articles which you need to read. Tick the articles which you need to read, and then just read them. Do not Google, do not try to take more information from Google's etc. and add on your own. And you do it on daily basis. And then once a complete month has gone by and you are thorough with the daily newspaper and articles whichever come in the newspaper, combine your daily newspaper and current affairs preparation with any compilation of current affairs, monthly compilation of current affairs which is available to you in the market. Any information that is up to you, any source that is up to you, you can pick any monthly compilation of current affairs whichever is available to you, which you think is the best. I'm not going to suggest, I'm not going to take any name, you can pick on your own. So if you're reading daily newspaper properly, and once you get that monthly compilation, you combine both the things, your preparation for current affairs will be complete. Now, how do you read newspaper? I have told you, I believe, and I have told this in earlier sessions, I believe read newspaper at the end of the day. Early mornings or the first half of your day is the most productive and you're not much tired. So utilize that time in completing major parts of the preparation, that is your NCRT, that is your reading monthly current affairs magazine compilation, whatever you read, and solve PYQs, go for mocks etc. Use first half of the session for that. In the afternoon, do something which does not require much energy, and then at the end of the day, because you have your daily newspaper analysis sessions in which I personally do mention the articles which we are going to cover, so you open up your newspaper, tick on those articles which we have discussed today, and along with that some 2-3 extra information which I have not been able to include in the session, you can pick on your own understanding that yes, I can read this also, though I do not need to gather more information about that. So the articles which I discussed in DNA sessions, you can tick on those, and also if you see the discussions, I do add extra content, extra information along with discussion of the practice questions and PYQs, be it subjective, be it multiple choice question. So I do try to add. So with extra information, some PYQs, you will have a broader understanding of the topics which has been covered using or basing the articles that was in that particular news, right? So that should be your approach. Get the newspaper, tick the articles which I have discussed in the session. That is what you're going to read. I also highlight and underline and tell you various dimensions which has been discussed in that news article. So just read it, add the information, take a screenshot of whatever content I show you. Gradually we'll be giving you a link also of entire jo PPT I use in the class to discuss with you the DNA. So I'll be availing that PPT as well, so you don't need to take the screenshot, but by that time you can take a screenshot of the content which I show. That's it. That is all your preparation of newspaper. That's how you can ease your preparation and understand the news articles well. So with this, a short discussion on how to read newspaper, let's begin the discussion of each of the article which we do every day. All right. So the first article that we are going to take is on the front page. Four IAF Indian Air Force pilots named as possible Gagan crew. So just read the names here. Names are Group Captain Prashant Balakrishnan Nayyar, Group Captain Ajit Krishnan, Group Captain Angad Pratap, and Wing Commander Shubham Shukla. So these are the four names, out of which the final names will be picked up for putting them into the Gaganyaan crew. And then if go to this line, according to ISRO, the Gaganyaan program is designed to demonstrate indigenous capability to undertake human space flight mission to low Earth orbits. The mission is expected to pave way for a sustained Indian human space exploration program in the long run. Now read this line. India will have its own space station by 2035. So by this information, you know that India still do not have its own space station. All right. So it is projected, or it is believed that it can be had by 2035. So the first line, the Prime Minister was addressing ISRO scientists at Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, and he said the nation would once again go to the moon and bring back samples from lunar surface. So now when you read this article, what all should come to your mind? What is Gaganyaan mission? What is Gaganyaan mission? First question should come to your mind is this, and the second question which should come to your mind is what is the objective of Gaganyaan mission? And third point which you should think is what will be significance? What is the significance of Gaganyaan mission? All right. And then are there any challenges? Are there any challenges in the Gaganyaan mission complete success? So these are the 4-5 dimensions which I think when you read this article should come to your mind, and that is where questions are formed. Let's look at all these dimensions from this question. First, read this question. What is the importance of Gaganyaan mission to India? What is the importance of Gaganyaan mission to India? So importance, and what are the various challenges related to mission? The first thing I told, you have to know what is Gaganyaan mission. Okay. So this first let's know what is Gaganyaan mission. Read this. The Gaganyaan mission is India's ongoing project. Is ongoing project to send a 3-day manned mission where to low Earth orbit of 400 kilometers. So these are your PT pointers, factual information. Please look at this carefully. 3-day manned mission to low Earth orbit. How far? 400 kilometers with a crew of 3 members and bring them safe back to Earth. A part of this program, 2 unmanned missions and one of the manned mission are 2 unmanned and one will be the manned mission. approved by the Government of India. Now next point, what is the objective of Gaganyan mission? So next thing is to know what is the objective of Gaganyan mission. The Gaganyan mission is an ambitious and coordinated project of ISRO. So again for you the PT pointer is coming, please be careful. Coordinated project of ISRO in collaboration. So with who the collaboration is? Other agencies such as various research labs, Indian academia, industries, with the following objectives. To understand human space flight. This is the first objective, to understand human space flights. Alright. Its immediate aim is to demonstrate indigenous capability to undertake human space flights. Second is space exploration. Alright. In the long run, it will lay the foundation for a sustained Indian human space exploration program. Alright. So the next thing you need to know is the technologies which are used in Gaganyan mission. So look at this picture, the technologies used. If you see, this is orbital module. In this there are two parts, crew module and service module. In crew module it is for habitat of astronauts, and in the service module it does the on orbit. What is service module? It does on orbit servicing. So this is important technologies which has been used, and these are the parts, and this is important for you. The next thing is human rated launch vehicle, and in this GSLV Mark III, it is GSLV Mark III derived. So this is a little bit about technologies behind Gaganyan mission, and in order to ensure a crew safety in this program, various precautionary and safety measures were required. In this regard, ISRO required measure new technologies for the Gaganyan mission, such as human rated launch vehicle. So what is that? Human rated launch vehicle first, and then for the Gaganyan mission, and then next is a habitable orbital module. Alright, a crew escape system, and then a life support system. These are some of the technologies which has been used in Gaganyan mission. And then next is to know is this question. Look at the question again. Come back to question. What is the importance of Gaganyan mission to India? Discuss various challenges related to the mission. Let's say this question comes in 250 words, 10 marks. How do you approach the question? First of all, I haven't shown you the entire answer, but when you get this question, how do you start writing? First of all, you write an introduction. And in this, what kind of introduction should you write? You should write contextual question. What is a contextual question? Contextual question means you write the context, or some information regarding what is being discussed. So how do you write a contextual introduction for such question? The things which we discussed in what is Gaganyan mission, what is its objective. So that will be your contextual introduction for this kind of question. So contextual question is giving any information, giving the context around which that news is evolving. Alright, this is contextual question introduction. So that is what you write here as an introduction. And then what you write? Significance, because the first thing, second thing is as I said, introduction. What should be the introduction? I told you. And then comes the body. Okay, and in 250 words, how much should be the introduction? Introduction in a 250 words mein, how much should be the introduction? How much should be the body? How much should be the conclusion? Introduction, write some 35 to 50 word introduction, and for conclusion in 250 words, write an introduction of 35 to 55 words, and then rest is the body. Okay, so in 250 words, write an introduction, body and conclusion. Introduction should be of 35 to 50 words. So about the introduction, write an contextual introduction here. Then in the body, start writing the significance. The first question in focus is importance, and then the challenges. So first part in the main body will be significance of the Gaganyan. What is the significance? It will give industrial stimulation. Second is employment and human resource development. Then there will be technological advancements. All right, academic and research enrichment is there, and then inspiration for youth. As we saw all the 4 man named to go in the space flight is the youngsters. So more youngsters will be attracted to science and technology areas. So this will give inspiration to youth. National prestige, it will up the prestige of the nation as well, this kind of missions. These are some of the significance which you need to write in the first part of the body. Okay, and then challenges. What are the challenges which might be faced? Look at this. Then challenges next. What are the challenges? Launch and vehicle reliability. Achieving the required reliability standards for GSLV Mark III. As we saw in this, it is GSLV Mark III derived, modified for human transport, presents significant technological engineering challenges. So there will be challenge in launch and vehicle reliability. Safety systems also is a challenge, ensuring the safety. Then astronaut training, because currently we know to send in such flights, the astronauts has to be trained for a quite long time. So is telling the challenges on that front. The absence of specialized facilities for the comprehensive astronaut training in India necessitates collaboration with international agencies or significant domestic investment and development. Then next is space debris. We know that there are a lot of already ongoing or have been completed some space exploration and space expedition which has left space debris in the space. That might be a challenge in the path of this mission. And then financial implications also there. If we know approx 9,000 crores is being spent on this Gaganyaan mission, imagine the cost involved. So this is also highlighting the challenge on the front of financial implications. So this is the question on the first article that I wanted you to look at. And then the next article that is in the discussion today, which I have taken, is land reforms, top of the agenda in third term. I have already discussed some of the issues regarding land reforms in our previous discussion, that we are not going to take it today here. Please go and watch all the previous sessions of DNA and try to understand those issues, those articles which have been taken in detail. That will make your job easier for all the coming daily newspaper analysis or for your preparation of the current affairs. Please do watch all the previous sessions. That will help you, that will ease your efforts. So we have already discussed in detail land reforms and what is land reforms, what are the historical background of the land reforms, what are the laws, etc. Here which I wanted you to highlight is, it has talked about 4 factors of production. So what are the, in economy you must have read what is the 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. And then fourth, which is here being talked, and I wanted you to pick this phrase. What is the 21st century factor? This is digital infrastructure. So now when you write factors of production, do keep in mind another factor of production, that is 21st century factor of production. And what is that? This is digital इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. एंड अगर आपको मैं इसका एग्जांपल देना चाहूँ तो अगर कोई ऑफिस खोलना चाहता है तो लैंड रिक्वायर्ड है, ठीक है, जहाँ पे ऑफिस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बिल्डिंग खड़ी होती है, दैट इज योर land. Then capital, money is to be required, the investment. And then land, labor is required, the people who work here. labor कौन है? teacher भी labor ही है भाई. And then land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, the one who is going to bring all these capital, all these factors of production together, that is entrepreneurship. And the fourth, now as मैं भी तो आपको ऑनलाइन ही पढ़ा रही हूँ, right? This is also digital interface. तो एक पूरा दिन given 21st century scenario, the next important thing for any business or for any startup to work on, the another factor of production which is required is the digital infrastructure, the camera, the digital board, the people working in the technological department. All right, so this is also a new factor of production, that is digital infrastructure. And this is what I wanted you to take note of, and you can write this phrase in various of your answers. Keep picking such phrases, keep picking such new terms, and you will know where to use these given the kind of topic you are dealing with. Alright, let's move to the next article that has to be dealt with today is 10,000 genome projects completed, says government. So this is the next article, 10,000 genome project completed, says the government. Read this line. 10,000 genome project, an attempt to create a reference database of whole genome sequence out of India, then as a key step to being able to learn about genetic variants that are unique to Indian population groups and use that to customize drugs and therapies. So this is the significance or the objective or the importance of the genome project that has been taken up. So, and these are the importance, that's how you also read. You can look at the highlighted points and you can also understand what are the things which you need to highlight and read while you're reading the newspaper. And then nothing come to this line. The main outcome would be to gain deeper insights into, then again is the significance. Okay, this again is about the significance of Genome Project. Outcome would be to gain deeper insight into India's population diversity, improve diagnostic methods and medical counseling and genetic predisposition to disease, develop personalized and customizable drugs, improve gene therapy and throw more light on individual susceptibility to infectious diseases. So this is the point which you need to note down. Let me give you some questions on this. Think and try to bring some points which you think can help you to complete this answer. Look at this question. Genome India project provides an opportunity for India to make great progress in the fields of biotechnology, agriculture and healthcare. Discuss. If I tell you to discuss this question in 250 words, so what should be approach? We did read what is genome, that was the question, Genome India project and what it is doing, that thing you read in the article, and then what are the significance, some points you took from there. Then now if this kind of question comes, that it gives a progress in the fields of biotechnology, agriculture, healthcare. So you imagine, so you think whenever you get such kind of articles, you have to understand why I give you questions, so that you can understand how and what all the dimensions you need to think of while you're dealing with that article, while you're reading that article. What should be the approach? You have to briefly explain in the introduction, you have to briefly explain about Genome India project. So this is what I tell you, that contextual introduction. Here also you need to give a contextual introduction. In introduction, give contextual introduction. Contextual introduction. What is contextual introduction? You give certain information regarding that issue. So briefly explain what is Genome India project, and then in the body write the project's applicability to biotechnology, agriculture, healthcare, all right, sector, and how such will present opportunity for India towards progress and contribution. Then next you have to write, because it's asking about discuss, okay, so you have to write in the main body challenges also, not when there is such important, such key terms used in your question like discuss, you have to discuss the entire topic in various dimensions. All right, then if you write the significance, you have also to mention the challenges, and then along with challenges, way forward, and finally conclusion. So you have to write challenges and then write some way forward also, and obviously in conclusion write some measures to overcome these challenges. All right, so this should be the approach for this question. Please attempt this back at your home and think and bring some content, some points which helps you to deal with this question. And you can also comment in the comment box that how you could deal with questions, what all the challenges you face while dealing the question. All right, I cannot provide you further point for every article which I discuss. It will be kind of entire class 1-2 hours. The entire purpose of discussing newspaper will get defeated. My idea here, while I read you I'll help you to read newspaper is to give you broader understanding about how you should deal with particular article, how you should read newspaper, and I try to give you some fodder point for some articles, but all articles cannot be provided with a lot of fodder points. So in this limited time, you also have to do some work. So at least try to think on this question and write some points which might come in your mind, and write down in the comment box and let me see. And again, that's how I know I'll put some answers if you're not able to answer on your own for such questions. Okay? And then let's look at the second question. What is the India's genome mapping project? What is India's genome mapping project? Discuss the significance and potential benefits. Demand the question में क्या है? Introduction, contextual introduction देना है. As I said before also, body में discuss significance and various challenges. The question is same, just the words used are different. So one topic, many question, many kind of questions on the same topic. So this is how you look at the articles. Now let's look at the third article that is in consideration today. And if you look at this article, Supreme Court asked Tamil Nadu collectors to follow ED summons. Okay? And again, I want to remind you that we have discussed in very much detail all the information regarding ED in our earlier discussions. Please go back and watch that, so you save your time here. The fifth article, Tagore Kin opposes felling of historic trees in Shantiniketan. You read this one, this article, that Shantiniketan, which was established by Rabindranath Tagore's father Debendranath, and it was recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site in September 2023. This is the point I wanted you to note down from this article, and there is nothing else to be read. This is one of the this about ED, though we have already covered this, but note it down again. Certain sections of PMLA, and then again section 53 of PMLA and what it says. Then based on this, the Supreme Court said that the summons which has been sent by ED to the district collectors in the Tamil Nadu, they have to come and be summoned in front of the ED based on the PMLA. All these sections, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, these sections does allow ED to summon such collectors on issues which has been taken in this, okay, in this case. So this is one of the sections which I wanted to note down, nothing else, but we have already covered in discussion of ED that in that day also. Now the important article for us is this one, the global order, a fraying around many edges. So you see in this article, this is on editorial page, the global order, a fraying around many edges. So this article is actually talking about United Nations, when and how United Nations formed, what was the objective of United Nations, what were various things, various functions or various objectives which were thought of to be achieved by bringing United Nations kind of body at the world level or international level. But then as we see, the relevance of United Nations is eroding, and in between, once we saw that, many nations started thinking that for them United Nations is not making much relevance. So there were a lot of other bodies, a lot of other regional or group of nations started coming, which tried to function or which tried to work like United Nations and bring in solutions for their problems. And did they succeed or they failed? And then ultimately this article talks about, is there a reform needed in United Nations? Is United Nations still important in the new global order? So this is the crux of this article which has been mentioned in this. Let's read the article because this has to be read and each line is very important in this article. Let's read one by one each paragraph. So if you see, first paragraph talks about Antonio Guterres, who was the it has been mentioned that he was the yeah, or like read the first line. Antonio Guterres, the ninth Secretary General of United Nations. He was the ninth, not eighth. He was ninth Secretary General of United Nations. So some statement of him has been mentioned, questioning the relevance of United Nations in the new global order. And then in the next paragraph, birth of United Nations and why. Then what is the vote share in United Nations and how it is impacting the entire decision making. And then in the third paragraph, birth of IMF, why IMF was established, with the initiative of the United Nations and how it came. Then in the third paragraph, the criticism of United Nations and its activities and its relevance had been mentioned. And then vote share also of China, US, Russia, UK, etc. has been mentioned, and how UK's sterling pound decline and gave way to USA and dollar became important. And then what are the alternatives to United Nations which were brought up? As I said, and alternatives are flawed as well. Why alternatives were flawed? These are mentioned in 1, 2, 3, some 3 points that I've also mentioned, I have highlighted. That is how you read newspaper. And then in conclusion, why failures in recent times, why United Nations has failed in the recent time, like after COVID, all right. And then next thing is Russia's invasion of Ukraine, United Nations here also failed. And then war in the Gaza and Holocaust, here also United Nations failed, all right. And then what could replace United Nations and how? This is the question which has been asked by the writer. So read the first line. Antonio Guterres, the ninth Secretary General of United Nations, is sounding increasingly pessimistic about the future of United Nations. So Antonio Guterres is quite pessimistic about the future of United Nations, because, and that is why, because of which the reforms are essential. So is this the end of road for the current global order? So there is a question, is this the end of road for current global order? Then you read, the world has changed post World War. Now why this United Nations took birth? Now this paragraph talks about that. At the stake is post World War order, whose foundations were built even as the Second World War raged on, reflecting a structure that the Allied powers, eventually the victors of that conflict, felt would prevent another global conflagration. Alright, United Nations organization, that is United Nations itself, along with its specialized agencies, funds and programs. Alright, so it just read these lines. United Nations was created to stop another global war. Read this line. United Nations was created to stop another global war by upholding the sovereign equality of all nations, subscribing the principles of collective security. So this was the purpose of creating United Nations. Next line. Read the next line. And then it's mentioning by using the phrase 4 policemen. What is that? US, Soviet Union, UK and China effect rewarding major allied powers with a permanent veto. So let's read this line, the vote share. Read the vote share. Currently, the percentage voting rights for, say, the original BRICS members, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa are this and this and this. China has the largest vote share. If you look at India, it's 2.63. The US alone commands 16.5. Add to it the votes of UK, 4.03. US has 16, UK has 4, Germany has 5. The rest of G7 that tends to vote with the US, and that percentage approaches 30. So other rest जो G7 members है, they will obviously align and vote with US. So whatever US and these G7 countries want, that will happen at United Nations. So that is a questionable area. The vote share. Allocating special voting rights or reserve assets for member states, and most reform requires an 85% majority vote, effectively handling the US a powerful veto. So it is the US who has the entire say, because any decision taken would require, any reform would require 85% vote. The US will have the highest voting share, so US will decide what happens. And then IMF was also brought up. It has mentioned about the IMF, and the IMF maintains global stability by promoting financial stability, offering advice and providing funds to countries in financial difficulty as long as they accept conditions. So IMF will provide the funds with certain conditions, and the nations in need of the funds from IMF or accepting the funds from IMF will abide by the condition which has been posed by IMF. So, you know, where is the sovereignty here? The question of sovereignty of the nation which are going to receive funds from IMF, that is one area to be questioned. And final say will be United Nations and the grouping it has along with it. So ultimately, who is having the entire say on the international level is US and its allies, G7 countries, etc. So next has been mentioned some of the alternatives, like, you know, the non-aligned movement came, and then next here has been mentioned about OECD, and then China-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, read this, OECD, then AIIB came, and then the US, it says that all these failed, all these could not bring up solutions, they failed at their, largely they have failed, they could not be an alternative to United Nations. Then it says that because these regional groupings or some of the nations coming together and trying to find solution, an alternative United Nations has failed largely, if we can say, because of which United Nations still exists as a default option, only default option. All right, so what global events and new fault lines, but again this further lines is which has been mentioned by the writer, has highlighted, has mentioned some points which is questioning again the relevance of United Nations for the objective which it was formed. What was that? As I mentioned already, COVID-19 shut down borders for people, for goods, for vaccines, thereby undermining the promise of a shared global prosperity based on ever greater cooperation. So this was the objective of setting up United Nations, right? But COVID-19 struck a heavy blow on this objective to be achieved, for which United Nations was formed. And then second is Russia's invasion of Ukraine revealed the hypocrisy of one of the super equal rule makers refusing to follow the rules. And finally, the war in Gaza has exposed the fault lines between the developed and developing worlds, between the guilt over the Holocaust and the recognition of Nakba, and between the need of the great power to support United Nations and its organizations and the expediency of questioning the legitimacy and effectiveness of organization. So these are the instances, these are the events which are questioning the effectiveness of the organization, that is United Nations. And all right, so then organization, when support for Israel demands it. Most importantly, this conflict tests the commitment of several of the permanent members to the bedrock of United Nations system, a commitment to human rights and genocide convention. All right, so this is also one of the questions. So what could replace United Nations system and how? This is the question which remains. Now with this article we have discussed, let's look at some of the questions. And through this question, you should think if this article could help you to write down the answer for this question. And if you read the article carefully, you will understand that you are, from those 4 points, you can easily, comfortably attempt such questions. So what is the question? Read, the global order is experiencing geopolitical churn. New powers are arising and older are staring at the decline. So as we read, the global order is experiencing geopolitical churn. You can mention those 3-4 points which I have mentioned: Gaza war, which was mentioned in the article, COVID-19 case, okay? And then what all 3-4 points we did discuss, we did read, right? Like in the article itself, in the last line, COVID-19 shutdown, yes. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, yes. And then war in the Gaza, right? And next was, yes, all these 3 points. 3 points you can mention. These are geopolitical churn, because of which global order is experiencing altogether global geopolitical churn. New powers are arising. So you can mention the new powers and their initiatives like AIIB, new that was non-line movement as well. And then there were few others like let me see which was mentioned in the article itself. Yes, G77 also. So all these things you can mention are standing at the decline. In such a scenario, examine the opportunities India can explore in the context of US-China contention. So this is one of the related question which can come. The next article, this next question which you can think of based on, we can think of based on this article, is United Nations still relevant in the 21st century? Critically examine. Okay, critically examine. The next question, new global order and relevance of United Nations, discussed. So in the introduction, write what is new global order, what the new global order has become. Then you have to write about United Nations is the purpose of formation, and then how United Nations is failing because of new geopolitical churn. Those 3-4 instances you can mention, and then you can write down that what are the reforms which are required in United Nations, and that's how you deal with this topic. Let me show you about some content about United Nations. Look at this, the historical background of United Nations. Formation of United Nations 1945. Please go back to whatever sources, or you can just take a screenshot and read this about the formation of how the United Nations was formed in 1945. Then what is the founding principles of United Nations? Collective security, United Nations Security Council, and then next is disarmament, peacekeeping. These are the objective of formation of United Nations. What is structure of United Nations? General Assembly, and then Security Council, specialized agencies. What are the specialized agencies in United Nations? These include numerous specialized agencies and programs such as UNICEF, WHO, UNESCO. They are part of the United Nations itself. They are specialized agencies under United Nations. And then what is the relevance of United Nations in 21st century? That is the most important thing, and we have already mentioned it in we already read it in the article, like COVID-19 pandemic response, how COVID-19 struck a heavy blow for the relevance of United Nations. United Nations continued role in humanitarian assistance. Looking toward the future, you have to tell some positives also, that why United Nations is still relevant in the new global order, and then you conclude. So with these 4 points you can deal those 3 questions which I showed. What were the questions? These are the questions, right? We looked at practice questions. So with these 4 points, please try to practice these questions, and let's see if you can write it down or not. And you can always ask for your request. You can also put down in the comment box that if you face any problem, how you want to deal it with, how we can help you to deal it with. Always you're welcome. And this is it about today's discussion of newspaper analysis. And yes, I think this is all. Yeah, right. So keep reading. If you face any problem, you are always welcome in the comment box. We will try to reach you out and resolve the problems which you face. All right. So happy reading. All the best, and Tathastu.